All right, and now we have a very special guest on the MGT show today. Today we have the Spike King, one of the bigger Instagram pages in sports media right now. Definitely huge up here in New England. Along with us, always a great perspective and opinion on New England stuff like that. We love looking at his posts and content like that, and we're really happy to have him on. How are we doing today, man?
What's going on? I mean, thanks for putting me out like that. Some people don't like the content that I put out there, especially lately with Tom Brady no longer on the New England Patriots. A lot of people think I'm salty. A lot of people don't think that I like Tom Brady, which is complete false. I just go out there. I like to do what I do on Instagram, get people talking sometimes, start debates. I mean, I don't suck people's dicks. I just post what I post, dude. It's just what it is. Tough times right now with no sports, though. I will admit that, but I'm glad that you guys are able to bring me on today and just talk, shoot the shit, ask questions. And, I don't know what you guys are about to ask me, but I'm here to give advice to myself too. And it's great to see you guys trying to do something. This is the best time right now to do something like this, getting you guys together, trying to push yourselves out there because we're in quarantine life. There's literally no excuses not to do something like this. It's a good way for people to practice, get themselves out there, get a little exposure, because once sports does eventually come back, you guys can be in the full swing of things.
Very true. Very true. So I was gonna lead off here with a few media questions. How you got started and stuff like that. So you got started about 3 years ago. Is that right?
Yeah. Right around the Pittsburgh Patriots game, I went out to Pittsburgh, and that was the game where Jesse James, did he catch the touchdown or not?
Right.
Back then, I only had 300 followers on Instagram. Funny enough is that I actually was doing stuff on Snapchat. Now, I didn't have Snapchat followers, but what I was doing was I was going around the NBA Finals, which was the Warriors and Cavs. I went to the NFL Draft. I went to the White House when the Pats won Super Bowl 51, and I was trending on Snapchat. Snapchat was completely different at that time. I just knew how things could trend and go viral, but the problem with Snapchat was you weren't gaining followers off of it. You weren't gaining anything off of it. So when I was in Pittsburgh, I made a video post-game drunkenly. It was my first video on Instagram ever, and it had 60,000 views. So I only had 300 followers. So I was like, okay, I'm on to something. And then that year was Super Bowl 52. So during the playoffs, I was making numerous videos and gaining some attraction to eventually I went down with GRD, Green Runs Deep, and we went down to Philadelphia, and I filmed 5 videos in one day. One of the videos I filmed in my mind, and it worked out, was me spiking a Philly cheesesteak in front of Pat's and Geno's. That that went viral. It was on Barstool. It was on, you can even Google it, Philly cheesesteak spike. And then NBC Philly wrote a article about me being a disgraceful fan, whatever. And that kind of started my Instagram, where I only had maybe 1,000 to 2,000 followers right around the Super Bowl time, Super Bowl 52. Super Bowl 52 ends, the Pats lost. At the end of the day, it's just a game. It is what it is. And people come and chirp at me and oh, you jinxed us, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, dude, it's just a game. And I even admitted yeah, I could take the loss. Guess what? We're going to be back there next year. And that kind of started my trend towards Super Bowl 53 and really picked up business for me going forward.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely remember seeing the Philly cheesesteak spike video. That was pretty awesome, especially at the time, because content or not, it's still always funny to see something like that.
And there's people out there oh, you wasted money, or oh, you wasted a good cheesesteak, or oh, you're a bitch because you went out there at 5 a.m. and no one was there. People always want to talk shit, and that's what's funny about doing this, is because you have these little ideas. I knew that was gonna go viral. It went viral. I had people chirping at me, sending me oh, come down to Philly in this spot and I'll beat your ass. And it's just dude, you're really going to take this serious? And you know what? It ended up leading into me meeting Ty Law, because after the season was over, I found Ty Law and I found Teddy Bruschi's Instagrams, and none of them had any followers at the time, and they were their legitimate social medias. So I reached out to Ty Law and I got to meet him because I did a t-shirt giveaway. and he had me come down to launch, and then I end up getting his phone number. He thought I was some social media guru, and I was not. Sometimes you got to oversell yourself, guys. Like, you got to tell yourself to be something bigger than you truly are. And he believed in it, and that developed our relationship over the year as well too. So, something out there, again, advice is, they in the working world, they tell you have a 5-year plan. Like, what's your 5-year plan? What are you doing in the next 5 years? In the social media world, I'm saying, what am I doing in the next 6 months? Because things move really quick and you can never predict how things are going. So what I've always had in my mind was, yeah, I hit Super Bowl 52, but I'm like, what am I doing 6 months from now to start up the next season? When the next season started for Super Bowl 53, which the tattoo happened, what are the next 6 months going to be like? When the next 6 months end up hitting, after Super Bowl 53, what are my next 6 months or like, which is when I started Ride the Wave Media. I just knew if these things start falling in place in certain areas, I can be able to do that. Like, say the tattoo instance, like, if the tattoo did not work out in Super Bowl 53, Ride the Wave Media would not probably be able to launch off the way I envisioned it to launch off, because people would not give me the credit. Obviously, I did it again this past year. I did it for a reason, because I knew there was going to be publicity. We raised money for charity, and I could use that platform. Tattoo to me is a tattoo. I already did it once. I got my win off of that. It was just a way to keep carrying it forward. Yeah, I mean, I'm all over the place, when I talk. So
No, it's okay. We love that, because it makes it, it's real easy to kind of, overlook some stuff when you're going through this whole wild world of sports media and social media. But it's really good to hear, from someone who's kind of been through the ringer, and kind of someone who's seen it all,
Yeah.
some of the, kind of advice.
You just can't be afraid to show your face out there. You can't be afraid to do something that makes you look stupid. Don't be afraid to give your opinion. Like, I'm giving hot takes all the time. I'm giving my opinions all the time. And I'm doing stupid stuff. And don't be afraid to fail, because I've done that plenty of times doing this. I've done things that I'm like, shit, this didn't work out. And then you take a step back and you just learn from it. A lot of people are afraid to put their face out there. A mentor that I look at, I mean, I've been very fortunate to meet people, to be mentored. But dude, Dave Portnoy, Barstool Sports, that guy is a somebody, and he's worth $450 million before the economy crashed. But he's a somebody and he keeps reinventing himself. Look at what he's doing now with the unboxing and the frozen pizza reviews. That's turned into a whole nother thing. And he started here in Milton, in Boston, Massachusetts. And he wasn't afraid to put himself out there. He's gone through the ringer of making himself look bad from time to time. But athletes like him, people like him. Am I the next Dave Portnoy? No, I'm not. Like, I'm not trying to be the next Barstool or anything. But his vision and his blueprint is what we like as the younger generation. And that blueprint is going to work for future companies, because that's what we want to see. No one's going to touch Barstool, and everyone's going to be like that. But you can have these mini visions that kind of do stuff like that. Another advice too is charity work, man. Like, especially you guys have this group here. You guys go out there, you guys raise money, or you guys physically go out there to do something. Now, right now is not the best time to do it, of course, but that's something that I've been able to do over time. With like Best Buddies, I attached myself with Best Buddies early on. I did the Spike Challenge. That's actually what changed my name from Young Gronk. Used to be Young Gronk, because back when I first started, I used to be 300 pounds. I used to weigh a lot back in high school and college. And then I lost like 100 pounds. And people were like, oh, you kind of look like him from a certain angle. And when I was interviewed by Nesson a couple of years ago, before any of this, she called me Young Gronk on TV. So I ran with that as my Instagram as a joke. But then my Instagram turned into becoming like sort of a quote unquote business and a character. And then I did the Spike Challenge to raise awareness for Best Buddies, which I got Teddy Bruschi and Ty Law and Troy Brown to participate. And then I found out Best Buddies said that the Gronk family didn't want me to do that, because they didn't want like any association with it. And then I talked to a lawyer, and they're like, you should get rid of the Young Gronk name, because if you're going to do charity and raise money, they can come around and sue you, because they own the rights to the word Gronk. And he's like, you do not want to get into that mess. And that's what changed it to the Spike King, because we did the Spike thing. I spiked the cheesesteak and all that. And and some people are like, oh, like, you changed it because, the Gronkowskis, like, they don't like you, blah, blah. It's just like a lawyer was like, you can get yourself in serious trouble. If you look at it now in hindsight and where I am today, I mean, just on my name alone and what I've done, I've probably raised over 10 to 15 grand for different various charities, including Teddy's team. Um, and I've gotten sponsorships. I had a major sponsorship with, what's it called? 10100, which is no longer available because of the sports world, which
Right.
was great. Like they paid me, and if I was to be able to, if I kept that Young Gronk name and I was making tons of money off of that, they could come and sue me and I could lose everything. So that was probably one of the smartest things I've ever done, was to change the name. I mean, Spike King didn't really hit off as well. It was something that was kind of talked about. And I was like, it's not about the name. It's just about the person who's behind the name to be able to sell it to you. Because sometimes I shy away from Spike King. I'm just Babs. Like literally what you see is just me. Like it's not anything different. So,
Right.
um,
Right. That makes a lot of sense, and kind of back to what you were talking about with Barstool, especially. Barstool is also a huge inspiration for me because I've gotten them for a few years now, and especially now as they've been releasing their documentary series on YouTube. Especially now, you're seeing more in depth as to just kind of like, for lack of a better term, just a few lucky hits, a few lucky moments, and like things flipping the right way, people paying attention, right people watching, and you shoot to the moon, obviously.
yeah, yeah, man. And over time doing this stuff, it's like, and a lot of this is GRD too. And you get the right connections, you meet the right people. I mean, over time, the bigger you start getting, the more people are starting to look out for you. I mean, I have someone like even Killer Kev, who's even looked out for me and has built connections for me, and vice versa. And you share these things. You meet all these athletes and different things to come out there. You know, what fucking pisses me off, dude, is this spring. I have connects now at the Harp, which is what Portnoy had too with the Briar group, and Hurricanes, and I really wanted to do Celtics and Bruins playoffs, and I wanted to do podcasting there, and I was starting to get things set up, and now everything kind of gets pushed back. But yeah, that's right. Like, you got to put a plan together. You got to get a lucky hit on it. Again, don't be afraid to fail. It's kind of like the Boston's Big Three. That's the podcast that I'm on. And we did those on YouTube first. That's how we started. And it was me, Tyler Miller, and GRD. And we just kept doing them. Nobody's watching, no viewership. But what happens is that the people, like say you guys that are on this right now, you four, you start getting a connection. You guys start knowing when to speak, when not to speak. You start getting a feel for it. So eventually we're about to hit our 40. We're about to I don't know what the hell this is doing here. We're about to hit our 49th episode today. And over those episodes, the 40th episode is when we had our first actual real guest on, which was Ty Law. And it flowed so well because the 39 other episodes we've done, we've gotten that good chemistry going forward now. And it took us a while to get on Apple. And now people are listening to him like, wow, you guys sound great, blah, blah. It's because we practiced for months and months. A lot of people pick this shit up and they think it's magically going to happen, and it doesn't. I'm going to take a great example here, and I hope they hear this somehow, some way. LFG Sports. They came out here out of left field on Instagram. I don't know if any of you followed them at all. They went out there and they were great at filming things. They were great at doing interviews, which is the man on the street interviews, which is always great to do. That's something that if we had sports right now, just going out there to interview people, they did good. They had a good vision, a good goal, and they were trying to do more of a college thing. But here's the thing. They must have been kids that just came straight out of college or had college connections. They spent a fuck ton of money to travel around. They just didn't have that 6-month to 12-month plan, because once they hit to where they were, they had nothing going forward. If you look on their Instagram, LFG Sports, they haven't posted since Kobe passed away. And this was before we went even into quarantine life or anything like that. Yeah, that was their last post.
That was their
right
last
there.
post. And
the thing, go ahead.
Yeah, from what I'm seeing here, it seems like they had like a lot of, like you were saying, great content that is awesome to watch. The Man on the Street especially. And it seems like they just kind of flatlined at 10,000 and that was it,
They went viral numerous times with Barstool, and I've seen
Yeah.
them go. And there was times they went viral with Kyrie's coward thing, and they put that out there. That was their idea. They've done things. They get their name out there, but just because you get your name out there, you got to follow through and continuously have content that's coming out here. An example for Ride the Wave Media. We can do the man on the streets once in a while, or we can have that content, but we're always posting on that Instagram page. You're always doing hashtags. You're always having something. We have a select people that are on there to do that. Then we have Boston's Big Three. We can take snippets of Boston's Big Three. We can edit it. That's content that you can continuously keep having on there. And that's something they didn't have. And that's what makes me upset is that I see something like that, and they're not a competitor or anything. I'm just looking at it and I'm just like, these kids have a lot of potential and they're not living up to it, and they're not using it because they just don't have the right direction. You can't throw money at something and then think it's going to magically happen. I've thrown money at stuff because I've traveled and I've done all this shit just to be out there, but that doesn't mean things just magically happen. I've learned through that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've gone down to so many games and travel to so many different areas. I've just been networking the entire time. So, there's people that just don't give up hope and just keep doing it. Like, it's going to take a while for things to even eventually lift off. So, and do it because you want to do it. Do it because you
Yeah.
love it. Like, I love sports and I love the Instagram because it's an escape from reality. And now that we're in this new reality, it's also a good way to talk about it, which we can talk about way later, but
Oh yeah.
it's good way to get out of it.
Yeah. I know, going to transition into our other host here, Logan. Logan's going to take it and, kind of run you through a few more questions.
What's up, Spike King?
Hey, what's up, Logan?
I was just wondering, what's it like being on the front lines of the coronavirus pandemic?
Yeah. So, like, I never really talk about where I work. It's something that my Instagram used to be my personal page, and then I deleted a lot of old stuff, and then I made it to this character or social media, whatever character. And I'm very, very, very quiet about where I work. And what happened is I work at Mass General Hospital. I work for the police and security department. What that is security for the hospital. I'm a police officer, loose terms. I don't care what people call it. Like, I'm licensed by the state. Like, I make arrests and stuff like that. We just don't pull people over. I don't care. It's a job. We all have to have jobs here. That's my secret job. That's how I pay the bills. People are like, oh, Spike King travel around. How's he able to do all this? I actually have a job. So it's able to do that. And I'm fortunate. I've been working there for 3.5 years. I'm going on my 4th year next month. A couple weeks ago, it was the week. So here's the timeline on this. So it was a week before March 13th. So a week before that, we shut down our ambulance bay. And I saw that and I called GRD and I was like, bro, like, things are starting to get real serious now at the hospital. We should go to the Celtics game and dress up in hazmat suits. Like, this is going to be their last game on Sunday. So that's an idea, that pops in your head, and then you have 2 or 3 days to put it together. And we look like idiots when we're walking around there, but I'm telling them this is going to end up being something because they're going to shut down everything after that. And we did our thing. But, working on the front lines there at the hospital, these are crazy times, dude. COVID, we have a lot of floors with COVID patients on it. A lot of people passing away as well, too. The numbers keep rising every day. A lot of these floors, like our PICU, which is for pediatric, like for kids, that's an intensive care unit, is being converted into for adults or just anybody with COVID. Our emergency department's expanding quite a bit because what happens in the ER is when a patient comes in, they take care of them and send them directly right to a floor. So all the floors are now starting to get filled up, and then eventually it backs up into the ER, and then we're kind of like the last, and the ER is like the last thing there. What happened was this has been going on, the COVID, since November in China. And back in January, I think is when we had our first case, quote unquote, at the hospital, and it was kind of quiet. It wasn't really out there. And even in the ER, they were saying, if you travel in the last 30 days, please wear a mask. Like, they were starting these little processes of doing this. To eventually it started kind of coming out here and creeping out there, and the writing's been on the wall. If I was doing all the research, I looked at on overnights, man. I try to look at what's going on the other side of the world, And it feels like the United States is like 2 to 3 weeks behind everything compared to what's going on in Italy, China, and all that. It's just I saw all the stuff that's going on, and I started using, all right, you know what? Like, let me use my social media, Spike King or Ride the Wave, to report some of this stuff. So on Ride the Wave Media, my Tom Holloway, T-Guns, he works at Market Basket up in North Andover. He sent me a picture, and it was Market Basket. It was completely empty because people were starting to buy shit. This was before the shutdown happened. I have a buddy whose aunt works directly next to Charlie Baker, and he messaged me on a Saturday and was like, hey, letting you know, like, the state's shutting down on Tuesday. Like, that's when they're going to start doing this. So I went on Ride the Wave and I made a post about it, and I got shit on all for it, saying, Spike King, what's your sources? Like, what do you know? Blah, 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 this and that, which is fine because we've gotten shit wrong in the past and whatever. And they're like, stop scaring people, blah, blah, blah. What happened on Tuesday? Shit started getting shut down. They didn't go into a lockdown. There's a difference between a lockdown and a shutdown. A lockdown is like you literally can't leave your house and there's military outside and they're gonna screen you. A shutdown's like we're shutting down businesses and you're not recommended to go outside, stay home. Anyways, I saw that and I got shit on, and I said to myself, you know what? I think I'm going to start being a little bit more open and honest, like, and tell people where I work and what I do. That's when I've done those series of videos of just being Brian Babikian and just saying, like, hey, dude, like, I work at the hospital and this is what's going on. And here's an example, no visitation. There are people, example, I can tell you guys this. Someone last night came in, stabbed, dead. Like, that's, these things happen in our life, gunshot wounds and shit. Family comes in, they can't even see the person because we're in a lockdown at the hospital. There are family members dying, or and you're not even allowed to see your loved ones. Like, maybe one or two people are allowed to go. It's a floor by floor basis, depending on how the situation is. That's how they're shutting things down. And not a lot of people know this. Like, if one of you brings your other friend to the ER and something happens, you drop them off, we'll tell you as police and security, you have to leave. Like, the visitor can't stay. You have to leave. And there's a huge unknown of, like, is my friend going to be okay? And, like, we'll just call you. Like, that's all you can get. Even in my case, I have twins coming on the way. And we kind of kept that hidden as well too. And we finally went public with it. But I work at the hospital, and my girl has been going to the hospital for appointments, and I couldn't even go to the ultrasound. Like, I can't even be there. And I'm being told that, I might not even be able to go to any more appointments until birth. And there's actually some places that are not even allowing anybody at birth. Like, it's just the woman and the doctor, and that's it. So I just see all this stuff, man. And I try to put that out there to, let and educate people out there. Hey, this is what's going on. And I tell these ICU nurses, what's good is I get to go to all around the hospital. I can go to any floor I want. I could talk to anybody I want. And I just wish there was more pictures inside the hospital to show everybody out there in society, this is what's happening. Working on the front lines, I will say I'm fortunate enough to actually still have a job and to still be able to work, to pick up overtime, to pay bills, to save up for what's going to happen this fall for the babies. But it's also interesting times to work in too, just to see how everything's slowly developing over there, how the process is going. I mean, we have to wear masks inside the hospital. We have a COVID pass to make sure you show every single day that you have no symptoms. You can come into work. It's just stuff that we've never, ever, ever seen at the hospital. People who've worked there before for 40 or 50 years has just never seen something like this before. I deal directly with COVID patients. What we do in security and police is we assist. And here's an example, like last night, you might have to restrain somebody because they're acting up and they're swinging and doing this and that. You restrain them to a bed. I might have to hold them down while they're getting COVID tested. Like, that's the shit I deal with. And not a lot of people know that. And I don't try to get too outspoken on my Instagram. I'll do it like this in this kind of setting, but I'm dealing directly with patients and patient care. We assist nurses and doctors, and, we get into scrums, and I gotten into plenty of little tussles and stuff like that. There are people that I work with that have gotten my back, that I don't even get hurt, that I've had to take people down. It's a crazy setting. I like it. I like working there. I like the staff I work with. They have each other's backs. They think the Spike King thing is stupid and they think it's funny. So it's actually fun to go into work and get their perspective on things that happen, because they just know me as a regular human being at work. But again, it's crazy times there, and I hope people still take this shit serious. I've been yelling it on the rooftops the last couple of weeks. This shit's gonna get worse. It's gonna get worse. We keep saying in 2 weeks it's gonna peak. It's not gonna peak. Let me tell you something. The way I see it, and this is my opinion. It's completely my opinion. I don't see the NBA coming back this year. I don't see the NHL coming back this year. The MLB will not be able to play a single game this year, and I 100% believe the NFL is going to push their season back to November. And my feeling is that there's going to be no season. The reason for this and why I'm saying this is because the hospital built 10 ICU beds in their ambulance bay, which is going to be semi-permanent for a year. Our new ambulance bay is just our main ramp. And so they're saying this is going to last a year. What they're projecting at the hospital, and they're very quiet, the higher ups about what's going on. It's about what we're seeing is I think that our hospital is going to get completely overflown soon. This is what happened on the other side of the world. And we're a major trauma hospital in Boston, one of the top hospitals in the United States and in the world. We're going to get overflown with patients. We're going to have to start expanding a lot more. This whole May 4th is going to be back to normal is not going to happen. They're going to keep pushing shit back, I think, until June 31st, July 1st. They're going to start letting society come back in the summer, 25 people, 100 people, 250, 1,000. And then what's going to happen with the corona is the cases they're flattening the curve, but they're going to go back up because people are back in society. This is not going away until a vaccination is made, until everyone has that vaccination. And that literally could take until next year to have that. That's my opinion. Because yeah, you can flatten the curve, but it's still going to be out there. Us as a younger generation, like it's not going to truly affect us because we could get it. We might not know we have it. We could get it. We could be absolutely fine. But you could affect your parents. I think that's the main thing. It's your parents. Like my parents are in their 60s. It could affect my grandparents. They're all passed away. But it could affect people with weak immune systems or underlying health conditions. You've been seeing some younger people passing away from this as well too. And that's the whole point is just, oh, well, why are we in a pandemic? And, oh, it doesn't even kill everybody. It's, well, we want to just stop the spread because we just don't have a vaccination for it. Is it right that we should just be walking around in society and spreading this around to kill older people off? I will say the baby boomers, which is the older generation, they're the ones that control society. They're the ones that have all the money. They're the ones that are your politicians. They're the Donald Trumps out there, and they're the guys that and girls that control everything that goes on in politics as well. So that's why they're taking it very serious too. But yeah, I mean, I've been working a ton. I've been just trying to pick up extra shifts at work, and it's interesting times. I give the nurses a lot of credit and doctors because and in Boston EMS that's rolling in here and dropping off patients and stuff like that too. Everyone's trying to stay as protected as possible. It's just eye-opening to see it every single day. Every day it's something new there at the hospital. Even before this, it's always something always new there. But even when it comes to this, things are always changing. And we appreciate at the hospital the support from the community. People have been donating a ton of food. They've been donating masks. They've been donating clothes. I think Crocs donated a bunch of Crocs for nurses. And even something right here where it says "Stand Strong." I Love Boston Sports made this. I personally liked the logo. It said Boston Strong on it originally, but I liked the logo and everything like that. So I reached out to Marlon, who owns I Love Boston. I've done things with him with signings and stuff. And I said, hey, I want to get a gift for the ER for nursing staff. And I got 50 shirts allocated for me to give out. I bought another 20. So he made some money off of it. And, yeah, and now nursing staff wants us and stuff like that. It was cool. Like it's just we're all on the same team. Everyone's in the same thing. Like you could be a doctor to security to environmental services who have to clean up the rooms afterwards or support staff. We're all on the same page. Like everyone's just seeing this like, holy shit, I can't believe this is going on. And again, it's interesting. I like the hospital setting. Everybody out there, you're going to have to get a job one day. Like, you're going to have to go into something like and be in the real world out there. So Spike King's got a real job. You know, I would love to be an Instagram thought for the rest of my life and have that as a full-time job, but you gotta get there, and it's going to take a long time to get there. It could still happen one day. So, I mean, my dream though is, do I want to, this was great because I worked with Sly. He's from Beantown Collectibles. He's from he works with Sully's brand, and he's mentoring me for a bit before all this quarantine shit happened. I was supposed to be working with him at Fenway this year. I was going to have a major announcement. I was going to be working with him. I don't have the magazine with me, but he does the the Yawkey Way report, which is handed out outside of Fenway. And I was going to have advertisements in there for Ride the Wave. I was going to work with him this year. And he was just like, Brian wasn't born to be working as a police officer at, Mass General. You're born to do what you're doing right now with the whole like social media and stuff. And I'm hoping one day, if I can continue doing this, is why I love doing podcasting. I said this year I was going to focus a lot on podcasting, talking, whatnot, and learn from this. I hope I can be in not radio, because radio's dying out, but I want to be on TV. I wouldn't mind being on NBC Sports Boston. I wouldn't mind being on EEI or Sports Hub. Sports Hub's the way to go. I feel like I'm untapped talent right now, and just like no, I'm a free agent right now, just waiting to be picked up somewhere. And I'd be willing to work for whoever I have to work for. So I'm hoping that's down the line, and I'll always have my job. I always have some sort of security behind me, because if I were to ever step away, and I've almost done it before, I was very close to doing it and leaving Mass General and trying to do this full time. I'm glad I didn't, because of what's going on in our world, that I can always stay there per diem and always have a job behind me. I always have somewhere to go to. So that's great.
That's awesome, man. We have a question from my bud Gio. I think he's up next. Thank you for answering my question.
Yeah. Long answer.
It's all right, man.
Yeah.
What's up, Spike?
Hey, Gio, what's good?
What made you want to get more involved in the Boston community? Because you're very well known in the Boston and New England area.
So pretty much like I got to give like a little love to my man Hagop. Sometimes I haven't talked to him in a long time, and there's people that look out for you, and I have my own vision and he'll have his own vision. We kind of split away, but we both kind of agreed that, the way I was brought up, I'm not a big religious guy or anything like that, but I was growing up Catholic. I went to Catholic school growing up. Myself and GRD, we grew up in the same area up in Lawrence, and we had families like, mom and dad that, teach us the right ways and values. Yeah, we're shitheads sometimes, that happens, but we're respectful to people. That's who we are. Something that's always been instilled in my mind is giving back. I believe in karma as well too. I've done some stupid shit that's obviously had some bad karma for me. I've done some good stuff that's had some good karma that's gone my way too. My whole thing with social media and being a quote unquote influencer is to use that influencer status to influence other people to do good. So I think that's what really has tried, for me in the Boston community is like, okay, if I'm given this platform, I want to use it to give back. I'd rather use my platform to showcase other people out there. I've been fortunate enough to keep growing my community and just keep having it. But that's why I like to do, like, say, the shout out Saturdays that I used to do and just shout out people's names. If people send me videos, whatever, I'll post them. I'll tag them on it. I want to give you guys the credit and stuff like that. And same thing with the charity work. I want to try to do as much charity as possible. Dude, I get a lot of things sent my way, like, hey, can you help me with this, this, and this? And I'll only do things that I believe in, that I feel like, okay, I like this because I like that too, and I can get into it and rock and roll with it. Little thing like, say, Best Buddies, like just to do to work with them a little bit, because I did that because Tom Brady, did the Brady football game every year, and I wanted to go to it. And then I started doing stuff with them to the point where I worked with Ty Law, and Ty Law owns Launch Trampoline Park. And I had two of these guys together, and I'm like, you know what? Can we do like a Best Buddies Day at Launch Trampoline Park? And we did that 2 years ago, and it went off like awesome. Like it was great. And then last year they did it again, and I didn't even have to be involved in it. I just kind of was known about it. What I did was I sent some of these Ride the Wave guys to these locations. I feel that if you do the stuff on Instagram or social media, you should give back in some sort of capacity to your community. And that doesn't mean you just throw money at something. I want you to physically work. I think maybe that comes from, I was in the Boy Scouts growing up. I was a Cub Scout. My brother is an Eagle Scout. So I've been growing up in that sense of community, because that's what Scouts do. They kind of give back and they work. I mean, I used to go down to Salisbury Beach and pick up trash, like in some of the summers. Like that's just what we did. And I think that some of those values stuck with me, I guess, throughout the time. I mean, even little stuff like the other day, I went to Stop and Shop, and there was the Planet Aid. They had the bins outside, and I saw it. I was like kind of disgusted. So I just did a video, and I was just like, trying to educate people, like not to fucking just dump your clothes over here. Like find a donation center if it's open right now. And what's cool is that Planet Aid, saw that, and they reached out to me like, where's the location? We'll come clean it up. And they follow through. And I said, if you guys follow through, I'll post about it. And that's the way to use your social media. It's not about getting likes or anything like that or views. It's just like, I know that I have the following. People are going to see that, and that could influence one or two other people. And that's cool. That's all that matters. Like I said, the more I can get back to the Boston community, like the better it is. Like I like to get involved in anything I can. You know, a lot of people out there talk shit. You know, an example is this is like, I did things for Jake Santos for Teddy's team. How that happened is, I went to the Teddy Bruschi game. Like I donated $1,000 to play in that game a couple of years ago. And, I built a connection with Bruschi. I pretty much said to him, if you do the spike challenge and do a video, like I'll donate a hefty donation or whatever. So I got my taxes back and I was like, I'll give $1,000. I'll play in the game. I met Jake's mom. She lives in Methuen. I lived in Lawrence, you know, growing up. So I met Jake and he raised $3,000. So I was like, oh, that's cool. Like I said, and I told Jake, like, hey, you know what? Next year I want to work with you. What happens the next December? And I just went to Pittsburgh. The Patriots lost that game. I flew home the very next day, went right up to Methuen, met with Jake, said, hey, we're going to start doing this. I sat down with Jake. I sat down with the family. We planned things out because it was Super Bowl 53. I was like, I'm going to get a lot of eyeballs on my product, letting you know, like a lot of people are going to be looking. What I'm going to do is I'm going to promote your charity because I want people to know that. And he ended up raising, I think, $5 or $6,000 or something like that last year, which was great. And I helped jumpstart that. I had him come to a Jets game. I made him work. I made him go around the parking lot and ask people. And he was awesome. It's cool to teach a 9-year-old that stuff. And he has good values, good morals. On the flip side of the story here, I got people coming at me, people emailing his mom, Spike King's only using your kid for benefiting of him. Spike King's only doing this because he wants to clout. Spike King's like, you know what I mean? And because people don't like me. People are fucking jealous out there because they see that and they're like, I want to be like him. You know, who only needs to know that I'm genuine is fucking Jake and his mom and his family and you know, the close ones that I'm like with around me. And they know how genuine it was. And she saw all these emails and sometimes it would hurt her. We had phone calls about it and stuff. And, you know, and now this year he was doing it again. I know quarantine doesn't help out, but and I helped kickstart it again for him, like just on the low, and he's doing everything's set up on his own. And I'm watching from back. I'm like, this is awesome to see this in the community. So it's just, I don't know. It's just I like to give back as much as possible. It comes from my morals, from the way I've grown up. It bothers me a lot, dude, when people like want to clap at me for some sort of shit like that, like the charity thing. Because and people have done it in the past, and I go, you know what? Why don't you fucking go out there yourself and take the time to go physically do something out there? Seriously, like, why don't you go do it? Why don't you try to do that? It's not like I'm just, I don't know. Like it bothers me. Like I'm like frustrated. I'm kind of at a loss for words because I literally just want to punch people in the face that are like want to try to shit on you trying to raise money for charity or something like that. Like, what the fuck? Like, I have a following. I have a platform. Why can't I use that? I'm doing for something I believe in. I like Teddy Bruschi, Teddy's team. This kid Jake's doing that. Like, I want to promote that. So I want to use my promotion for that. It's the same way what Barstool does. They have a humongous platform and they use that to promote things. That's what any kind of celebrity. Now, some celebrities will do it just because they do it because they want people to, oh, look at me. I try to, hey, Jake's doing this. Here you go, Jake. Take the platform. I'm all the way over here. That's what I want to try to do. That's what I like my platform for is, you know, if you guys were to do something, I'd be like, here you go, ride the wave, and Spike King's letting you take the stage. Like, that's what I want. And because you never know out there who's watching, who wants to help out, and who does what. So that's it. I really wish that this summer was existing, and I really wish things were going on. And you know, maybe something's going to come to my mind. Right now, I'm more focused on work and just like how things are going over there. I think that's kind of like my charity this year is just working in the whole Stand Strong campaign. I know I Love Boston donated a lot of their shirts to convert into masks. He's trying to buy N95 masks across in China. He's a distributor over there that's trying to help him out. I'm trying to get masks donated to MGH directly. So I think that's just kind of my contribution over the year in the Boston community is showcasing MGH a little bit more on my platform, being completely honest and real, and trying to do whatever I can to get some resources for us.
That actually ties into my other question. How do you deal with all the hatred and the hate that people say to you so much?
Dude, you gotta have thick skin. Like, you gotta not let it bother you. Sometimes it does bother me because, okay, here's a great example. So this past week, 2 weeks ago, Super Bowl 51, it's on TV. Everyone's posting about it, Patriots Nation and shit like that. So I have to post something because I'm like, all right, well, this is going on. It's a Patriots thing. I got to post something. So I posted the Mark Wahlberg, like him walking out of the game, because I thought it was funny. And I just wrote a thing and I said, like, Mark Wahlberg's a fraud when it comes to Boston sports. I'm speaking a fact here. Like, it's him walking out. A slew of comments come in, and it's just people saying, I can't believe you would talk shit about Mark Wahlberg. He's a massive Boston sports fan. Why are you talking shit about him? Blah, blah, blah. And I felt like I was getting attacked. So what do? Instead of just like, oh, fuck these people, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to double down. I've got a video sent to me of him talking about the Lakers winning over the Celtics. Had nothing to do with Kobe Bryant. Didn't even mention Kobe Bryant. I posted. Now more people are mad at me. And then I start trolling people. I'll troll people. If you really want to get me mad, I'll start trolling you, dude. And I'll do what I got to do. It's the same thing with the Brady situation. Back at Super Bowl, this past Super Bowl 54, the Hulu commercial came out. I was one of the only people out there that said Brady's not coming back. Like, I didn't believe in any of that. And here's the thing. I was down in that tunnel after they lost to the fucking Patriots and Titans game. They lost the Titans. I knew he was gone after that. There was people down there knowing that shit was over. And I kind of kept saying that. No one's – Spike King's talking shit about Tom Brady and, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. Same thing with that Hulu commercial. You look back on those comments. I said that night – I jokingly said because of the Hulu curse, because of Baker Mayfield and all that. I was like, Brady's not coming back. And then I wrote in the comments, like, my reasoning. I'm like, I don't believe it until he signs on the paper. Oh, you're a Patriots hater. You don't believe in Brady, blah, blah, blah. Look what happened now. He's not even on the team anymore. You know, I get a lot of hate for what I do. Sometimes I just laugh at it. It's funny in the game of social media because if someone comments something and then it gets a bunch of likes on the comments, you got to clap back at them and come with something witty. I'm not really that witty on the spot. But I just let people talk, dude. You know, a lot of people are like, oh, I'm unfollowing you or I'm not going to follow you. Guess what? You're going to fucking lurk at me. You're going to lurk at what I'm doing. Like, you're not going away anytime soon. I think the Mark Wahlberg thing, I lost like 300 followers, but it's just like, you're still going to be paying attention to what I'm doing. Like when the next thing comes up, whenever it is. No, I mean, the hate, and here's the end of it. There's a lot of supporters out there, dude. A lot of people that are like, yo, I fuck with you, this and that. Because if you pick my brain and I'll give you everything, I'll give you my Krabby Patty formula, dude. I'll let you know how I do things, and hopefully that sparks the interest of other people because it's literally not all about me. I get on the case of some of the people I associate with, like Tyler Miller, for instance. He works for Penn State Barstool's account. He's been doing things for What's the Word. He does things for Ride the Wave. He's our host on Boston's Big Three. I get on his case all the time, like, you need to fucking do this. You need to do that because I don't want to see him fail, and I don't want to see him give up an opportunity. So I know I have a lot of support out there and people that truly know what I'm doing, that people have seen it grown organically. Sometimes these newer followers come and they have no idea, like, my back history and shit like that. Like, you know, oh, you done this to Mark Wahlberg. How about the time I spiked a terrible towel on Pittsburgh Steelers field and that caused a commotion? Or the cheesesteak thing. A lot of people didn't like that. You know what I mean? Like, you know, that shit's been out there. The hate gets me going now. The hate gets me going in a way deep down inside that's like, I want to fucking prove you guys wrong. Like, I want hate. If you don't have hate and everyone supports you, what keeps driving you? It's the Tom Brady mentality. Really, it's the Brady and Belichick mentality because Tom Brady always finds a new way to keep himself going. Deflategate. You're too old. You're going to a new team now. That's going to motivate him to stay going forward. Like, hey, you don't still have it. You still don't have him. Same thing with Belichick. You know, oh, this is going to end. The dynasty's over. You're not a good a GM to draft players. I use that same kind of way in my head where people talk shit and they say you can't do it. That means you can do it. You want to prove them wrong. And that's what I learned with the Super Bowl. The first Super Bowl tat was like, I proved so many people wrong getting it. You can say it's luck or whatever. Things did go the right way. A lot of people just shut up. The haters shut up and they will never talk. No one ever wants to talk unless you're on the losing end. When you're on the losing end, everyone comes out and they all want to talk. When you're on the winning end, people are there to support you. The real ones are there and they support you and you see that shit. But the haters, they stay silent. And that's kind of your W. And then what I like to do on my Instagram is go back to some of those things and then just fucking comment on things. I've been wrong. I've been wrong in the past, like Jersey Gate with the 90s jerseys, which looks like I was just ahead of my time because they're gonna get new jerseys this year, and I kind of got the wrong information and we just jumped onto something that we thought was true. But I got a lot of hate for that last year, and I was like, okay, like you can hate me, it's a fucking jersey, that's okay, but guess what? I'll be right when the time comes. And I actually think that's going to be their alternate this upcoming year is either a red or a royal blue throwback. I think they're going to end up having that again. So, yeah, I mean, I want haters. I'll do things that. I'll do things certain days. It's strategic what I do. Like I might do something that might piss people off. I might post something like, I think like last year I posted Brady in a Jets jersey and just posted it with a puke emoji. Sometimes I post things without any like captions and people assume things. Like same thing with this Brady situation. People just assume I hate him. The only thing I ever said about Brady was I don't like the way he's been promoting TB12. I think it's absolutely stupid during the pandemic, and he called it a crisis. And why did I say that? Because I work at the fucking hospital. That's what bothered me the most is like I'm working here on the front lines. Why are you promoting this TB12 brand and making money off of people? It is what it is, but not everyone's going to see it the way I see it. As long as I know what I'm doing, I'm staying with it. I don't mind pissing people off because I just know, like, if I'm pissing you off, I'm getting a reaction. I love wrestling, dude. I love wrestling. I'm a huge WWE guy, and wrestlers have charisma, and a lot of their selling is not about the wrestling itself. It's about the promos, and whether you're a heel, like right now I'm a heel. Like I was telling Kev, like Kev, I'm a heel right now because like, I'm doing all this kind of Tom Brady quote unquote slander, Tom Brady slander. And you're getting a reaction from it. A reaction is better than no reaction. Doesn't matter which way it goes. Any PR is good PR, whether it's bad or good. I've gotten bad PR in the past for some stuff I've done. I've been able to spin it in the right way. You have to be able to do that. It's a learning lesson for those out there. Here's an example. LFG Sports, they posted a thing about how they faked everybody out, and the whole thing about the Bills Mafia selling out all the tables in Houston was a lie. Why are you posting something like that? It makes you look so stupid. If we were to ever at Ride the Wave get something like that, we've had like the Jersey Gate, and I had Ticket Gate last year where I got 700 tickets for free for the in stadium practice, and I gave them out for free, never charged anybody. And people came at me and attacked me for it. I came out. I publicly said, like, I thought I was doing something right for the community that wants to go to Gillette Stadium. Found out that 100,000 tickets were sold for a stadium that only holds 68,000, where only 10,000 were supposed to be distributed. So it wasn't my fault. I didn't get a lot of backlash on that, like from the organization. But, people will – there's people out there that have agendas. They want to take you down. There are people, I know them. I know who they are. I've met a lot of fake people out there too. There are people out there that I do not like at all that are doing something similar to this. And I don't throw them under the bus yet, because when the time comes and they cross the path with me and they want to try to take me down and they want to try to hit me, I got the ammo to fight back, dude. I will fight going down swinging. It doesn't matter. Even if I'm in the wrong, I will fight going down swinging on somebody. You got to believe in yourself and let that hate keep going. And you don't got to respond to every single person. That's what GRD does. He gets rattled when he gets hated. I just let it go. Sometimes I'll post something like my girl will be like, stop arguing with the 12-year-olds. Like, stop like going out there and doing that. And I'm like, oh, sometimes you got to do it. And sometimes you got to live and learn when you got to do it and not do it. But yeah, that's it. Just keep hating because it's going to keep driving me. Because guess what? I got hated the first time I was doing this. And then all of a sudden, I got to meet players, and then all of a sudden I'm getting tickets to go to games, and all of a sudden I'm starting a little company and making some money and giving the opportunity to other kids. And guess what? We're still doing things like this, and we're still out there, and my face is still out there. And I'm not going away. I'm not going away anytime soon. So.
Alrighty, well, I'm gonna hand the throne over to Turner.
How you doing?
What's up, man?
All right, so you talked a lot about meeting players and everything, like you said, like Troy Brown. But who's been your favorite player to interact with?
So Ty Law is number one. I'll talk about him in a second, just his journey and my journey with him. In terms of this past year, Dietrich Weiss has been beyond the greatest, man. I got very fortunate to meet him through Dito. And it was through I Love Boston Sports. I mean, that's why I kind of give Marlon the credit and I try to help him out, because I got to meet him through that. He loves the wrestling stuff. I think I met Dietrich. I've seen him before. I met him before. He loved the wrestling stuff. He likes the belt that I have back here. I was at the Sweet Feet for Strikes event. James White was nice. Like James White knew who I was, and I did a little interview with him. And, some of these players, here's the thing. Any social media, if you're doing Patriots and stuff, these players see it. They're on their Explore page. They might not follow you because they just don't want their Instagram to be clogged with nonsense, but they're following. They see some of the stuff they do. They might agree with you. They might not agree with you. Dietrich Weiss came up to me at the Sweet Feet for Strikes event, and he's like, hey, that video that you had of you getting water poured on you, like the ice bucket from the water, the cheerleaders, the GRD poured. He's like, we were all laughing at that. So hearing that made me kind of smile because I was like, oh shit, like he was probably showing people in the team playing and stuff like that. Just something silly and nonsense, like even fucking Jonathan Jones and Cordero Patterson. I met them through the Mass Pirates. And I think Cordero Patterson was like, you getting the Super Bowl tattoo again, like this year? And I was like, you think I should? He's like, nah, man, like we're taking it. The Chicago Bears are taking it. And I was like, talking shit. It's cool. Like I'm 29, turning 29 in July. So a lot of these players are younger than me now. And it's kind of crazy to be like that. So some of them laugh at some of the stuff I do. Some of them think that I'm a loser, like whatever. I think Edelman doesn't like me. I've met him twice so far. And I feel that, he looks at me and just hates me. I can just see it in his eyes. But what's funny is your brand, JE11, will reach out to me and want to work with me because they know that they're like, hey, we have something here. And he's definitely I grind, dude. If you're a company, I'll grind for you. And I know that. And I told JE11 that the fact that Brady's gone, your brand is the number one brand right now for the Patriots. And I hope that Edelman stays for the year because he is the captain and everything like that. So I've always got the vibes, though, that Edelman didn't like me. I met Brady once. It was at the Best Buddies event. That was the one where I took a video and I was walking by and I was like, ride the wave. And then I was trying to put my phone in. They make you, they go like this, take a picture and gone. When I saw him at the Sweet Feet for Strikes event later on, he looked at me and GRD, he kind of knew who we were. He was like, oh, what's up guys? Like it had that feeling like that. So that's in my mind. But Dietrich Weiss, I got to meet him over the year. What happens is some of these players, they get tickets to games, they get post-game passes. So myself and Dito reached out to him, said, hey, do you mind hooking us up with post-game passes? Sure, why not? No problem. Then he started getting us tickets to games, like, hey, just come here, like I'll help you out. So then I ended up getting his jersey and I just started rocking it for the rest of the year because I wanted to show that support back. And it's kind of cool to be able to connect with someone like him. I hopefully they have a season. Again, I don't think they will, but he's on his last year of his contract. So it's cool to start building that interest. And I always told him he does a thing called Wise Up, which is to help out the Boston youth community or just the youth community in general, be a little bit smarter out there to make the right decisions. And I always told him, hey, man, I'm here to help you out and promote any brands that you want to promote. And that's what it is for some of these young guys. I might have this following already with Ride the Wave and Spike King that some of these rookies start coming in or some of these younger guys come in that might not have a following or don't have the exposure. The Patriots is a very weird organization because they don't like the media. They don't like that shit out there. So I know this is, in terms of Patriots and media, it's going to be a long-term project for me to eventually get myself in there. I have sneaky ways of getting some of the people in the organization don't like me. They don't like me, and I know that, like higher ups to players and shit like that and coaches. But guess what? I keep showing my face every single week. They're like, how the fuck is this kid going all over the place? And that's what I like. I like to be sneaky like that. But Dietrich Weiss was a huge help this past year. And here's the thing, like I get to go in the tunnel after the game. I've done that a couple times. All the players are there. It's not like I'm running around like, hey, what's up? Hey, what's up? You got to be respectful. You got to know when your time is and shit like that. And it's always been good to connect with him a little bit. I hope I can get him on a podcast down the line, but it's a lot tough with somebody who is still under contract with the organization because they do not like media, because you say the wrong thing, you get fucked. Belichick does not like that. Ty Law situation, dude, like it's unbelievable. I was in 5th grade when they won the first Super Bowl. So I was about 10 years old maybe. And I know people that have grown up with around me that had Ty Law jerseys and like their AIM screen names were Ty Law, like and shit like that. So I got to meet him, got his phone number. The first year heading into Super Bowl 53, I told him I wanted to get him on social media. So I kind of helped him a little bit with Instagram. He's in the older generation. He has no idea what the hell he's doing when it comes to that. Super Bowl 53, that entire season, I promoted him almost once a week because he was going into the Hall of Fame. He was trying to get that last Hall of Fame spot. So I promoted him once a week, hashtag Ty for Hall of Fame. So if you remember that, I was doing that once a week, every other week. I get videos of people cheering for him. this and that. I would do videos. I would try to promote it as much as possible. At the same time, Ty was trying to do a media rounds all year to try to get his name out there. When the time came, Super Bowl 53, I was at the hotel Saturday, the Players Hotel. I got to sneak in, and I got to meet him. And that was the night that he got selected in there. I got to see him beforehand, and he was really nervous that day. And then at nighttime when he got selected, he was the last player to get selected into that Hall of Fame. It came down to him and one other player, and they selected him in there. His wife came up to me and was like, we feel you were a reason why he got into the Hall of Fame, which I was like, nah. But seriously, and she said that, and it felt cool. It felt cool that I could go in there, take my phone, shitty-ass quality, doesn't matter. I see Ty, he hugs me, man. He's like, thank you so much for everything you've done for me this last year. This guy who was poured his blood, sweat, and tears on the field, the gridiron that I've grown up on, is thanking me. And that is so surreal, and it still pinched myself because I'm like, I didn't do a single thing. I right place, right time for that. That's something that in the Portnoy and the Barstool of something falling your way and the puzzle just like fit right into the piece fits right into the puzzle. And the fact that his wife spoke highly of me, that I could get an interview right afterwards. Like, the professional interviews have been done. He's like, yeah, I got time for you. And he did an interview right after. That was one of the coolest things ever. And then his wife was like, hey, when the time comes for the Hall of Fame, we got you. Don't worry about it. So I ended up flying out to Canton with a couple people from Ride the Wave. And I ended up getting hooked up. I ended up buying like Hall of Fame tickets just to go in. I guess I could have got them hooked up. Like if I went to the right person, I didn't want to ask. I don't want to be asking people for stuff. The only thing I asked for was I wanted to go to the post game or the after parties. The 2 straight nights, fucking sick. Like, I mean, Michael Irvin walking with 2 chicks, probably prostitutes. You're drinking up with Lawyer Malloy. He was all pissed off because he wasn't in the Pats Hall of Fame this year, and Rodney Harrison made it over him. You're seeing all these different players. Fucking Chris Berman was out there. Dude, those nights were wild. I was dancing with Ty Law's wife. It was funny. And then the night after, he had this big like a golf course type of place. And who was there? Champ Bailey, who was inducted that year, left his own party to go to Ty Law's party because he knew it was popping and shit like that. So you get to meet a lot of people, dude, like a lot of people from the organization. And what's funny being there and repping is, again, I know my place and time. I'm just there. I'm not acting up or anything like that, having a good time. And there are people eyeballing me because they see my face. They're like, how? And I know Tom Curran, not a big fan of me, sees me. He's like, how the fuck is this kid here? How does somebody like him get into these situations? And those times are great networking opportunities. I think it was Gilmore and the McCourtys were at that after party. And I just shook their hand, said hello. And that's it. I'm not like, hey, what's up, man? Can I get a we're not the time and place for that. But it was cool seeing them to the point where Gilmore, it was cool with Gilmore because Gilmore has been working with Ty Law for a while now. They secretly, like, they've been working. It was cool seeing that. I got to meet Gilmore, through Ty Law, just like, hey, this is Brian, like this. And Ty Law hypes me up like, oh, this is Brian, dude. He's done a lot for social media. He's done a lot for me. I fuck with him. He's my boy, blah, blah, blah. So when I met Ty Law in the preseason, I brought my belt with me, and he wanted to get a picture with it. It was cool. It's cool. I said, Gilmore, good luck this year. I'm like, this is your year, dude, like, blah, blah, blah. And he ended up becoming Defensive Player of the Year. So it's too bad they couldn't have another Super Bowl trip. But, individually, it's cool. And I'm sure Ty Law's happy to see Gilmore succeed this year. But, I mean, that Ty Law connection, and to the point where he's a fucking real busy dude. But V1 Vodka is a new venture he was getting into. So that's another thing that I had my hands on to get into bars. We were supposed to have meetings and stuff like that, and that's not happening, of course, right now with everything shut down. That would have been huge because if you get a liquor sponsorship, that's where you can start making money and being able to go into bars and doing events. You need an alcohol, and I learned that last summer. You need an alcohol sponsor, and now I have one. Pretty much V1 Vodka. I can get that at any time I want, but now it's pointless because there's nothing going on. But Ty came on the podcast, Boston's Big Three podcast, little shout out to us, but, and he came on, and I think he did it as a favor for all the stuff I've done. Like that guy's very hard to get, and he rightfully so, you have to pay money to get him and stuff, but it's cool to build up that relationship, and just shows how legitimate that friendship is. And it's something that, I got very lucky, again, timing. But I built that relationship, and when I'm thinking with Ty Law, I'm like, same thing with anybody that I meet in terms of players. How am I, going to benefit our relationship for you? Like, Tyler, how is my relationship going to help you out? Well, this is what I can do for you. Like, I can grind a little bit on Instagram, get yourself out there, blah, blah, blah. Hey, when the time comes, just show a little love back, this and that. And it's cool. And it's a friendship. And then and Ty spoke highly of me on the interview that we had together and stuff like that. Kissed my ass a little bit. We were joking around, but it's just fucking awesome to be able to build relationships like that. And these players who understand you as what the Spike King does and what Brian Babikian does, and they get it. That's what's awesome about it. And I hope that throughout this journey, I wanted to try to expand to baseball a little bit more, and I want to try to expand to hockey and basketball. I want to try to do that as we keep going on, and I hope that happens.
That's awesome. So my other question would be, you're speaking about your failures before. Was there an early failure in your journey that you think really like helped shape your career?
Ooh, that's a really good question. I mean, you could say the failure could be the cheesesteak spike to the Patriots losing that Super Bowl 52, because them losing Super Bowl 52, it's almost like I remember sitting in this room that I'm sitting in now and just staring at that. I had an awesome day, dude. Like, I had an awesome day. Went to the Celtics game and shit. When they lost, I was thinking in the back of my mind, like, dude, I'm going to get chirped so much. What am I going to do? And I think that it was a fail, but a blessing in disguise. So, like, okay, let's be the power of positivity. Let's just say, you know what, Eagles, congratulations, you guys won. Hey, haters, you want to blame me? So be it. Yeah, I spiked the cheesesteak. I'll come in your city any single time again and do the same thing. But guess what? The New England Patriots are going to be back here next year. And I took that moment and just ran with that, which they ended up winning the Super Bowl. Dude, I double, triple, quadruple down on that Super Bowl, and it worked out. You know, it kind of had, I think that was my fail to turn into that. But I mean, I'm sure if I really thought about it and like looked back on my life and reflect, I'm sure there's plenty of times I failed on certain things, or I've missed opportunities that I regret. I mean, in both of my personal life as well too, because you're doing spiking. There's a lot of things I've sacrificed to keep doing and to be out there to entertain and try to build a platform that I kind of regret on certain ways that sticks with me, only with me. But in terms of failing, like, I mean, there's opportunities. I mean, I don't think I've ever truly failed at something. I mean, like, say the Ticketgate thing, like, that was a fail. It was a complete fail because but again, I thought I was doing something genuine for people, and it's just me to pick up those pieces. And yeah, it was a fail, but you learn and then you spin it and then you still walk out of it not looking terrible. I took heat for it, but it's just like, I never charged anybody. I never did anything stupid. And I admitted wrongfully what happened that was supposedly wrong. And but I'd have to go back and just say Super Bowl 52, because that's what launched. Like, I could have just like been a sourpuss. I could have been like, you know what, screw Instagram. I'm deleting my Instagram. Like, I could have did any of that. Like, right. I could have did all that stuff, but I stuck with the power of positivity. We're the New England Patriots. And still to this day, and that still stays forward right now. It's like, after the Pats lost to the Titans, I was like, so be it. Like, I had a fun season. Guess what? I'm not going away. I love sports. I'm going to be around doing all this crazy shit. And I'm excited for Stidham. I'm excited for the future of the Patriots. And I've been preaching it. The Patriots are going to the playoffs this year. Like, they're a playoff team. It's not just one player. It's not just Tom Brady. You stick Stidham in that team last year, and they probably have the same record. And they probably do the same thing. I believe in that. And I'm all about the Stidham train now. I have to be. I wasn't a big Stidham fan when he first got drafted. I was like, there's no way this guy's going to be the guy. Because I truly believe Tom Brady had 3 or 4 more years left in New England. Never thought that Stidham would be the guy. And I know a lot of people said, oh, Babs, like, you wanted Hoyer over Stidham. You want Stidham cut. They don't understand what I was fucking saying. People don't read. People don't understand that I said I wanted Hoyer over Stidham because I knew Hoyer was someone that can help the defense week to week, game plan everything for the quarterback they're about to face. And Hoyer would be great for Stidham to learn from. But also, Hoyer was somebody that Brady trusted, and I really think that's what hurt them last year. I'm glad they got Hoyer back. I think Hoyer, he's somebody else that I've gotten to meet, actually. I was in the Teddy Bruschi game, and he was the quarterback, and he threw a short pass to me. Or I went out for a long pass, and I was wide open. I'm not athletic at all. And he overthrew me, and I go, no wonder why you're the backup quarterback. Next play, I was like literally like 10 feet away from him. He like whipped the ball 90 miles an hour at me. I dropped it, and then everyone started laughing at me, making fun of me. And every time I met Hoyer during the season, he'd be like, oh, hey, what's up, young Gronk? YG, what's up, YG? So even when I changed my name, he'd say, like, what's YG, what's good? Hey, YG. So it's cool that he's back. So he's somebody this year that I hope I get to meet in person and talk with him again. And I would love to have on here or do something with him.
Yeah, that's awesome. Larkin, I'm going to kick it back to you.
Well, yeah, actually, I was going to just kind of smoothly, transition back into, because you started talking about, we're going to just start moving into some sports opinions here.
Yeah.
So you started kind of going in more about how, you're hopping on the Stidham train. You're now faced with a season where it's kind of, one of the first years, obviously, without Tom Brady. And it's really, it's kind of it's an unsure vibe, I guess, around here in New England, because it's so hard to tell really, what we're about to go into. And obviously, there's much bigger things on our plate right now, but when all we have to do is sit here and think, kind of go in depth more about, where you think the New England Patriots are heading this year.
So this year is like a semi-rebuild year, but it's also a way for the young guys to learn from the veterans. I think that, you could track back. Last year the writing was on the wall probably after Super Bowl 53 that we're going to do what we have, and that's it. The Patriots, dude, the people that complain that Tom Brady didn't have weapons, Belichick and Kraft got Antonio Brown. They got Josh Gordon. They gave him those two players, plus he already had Edelman. I know they lost Rob Gronkowski. That's not their fault to try to replace Rob Gronkowski. Rob Gronkowski fucked the Patriots over by taking his time to retire when free agency opened up, and they had no idea what was going on. And they ended up getting Antonio Brown, who A.B. shot himself in the foot and talked shit about Robert Kraft. I stick with Robert Kraft on that one. Yeah, this guy got Asian massages or whatever. I don't care. This guy talks shit about Robert Kraft. If Robert Kraft lets AB go back on, that's not good for him as the owner, because it shows that you're letting the players control you. That's what Belichick's been great over these last 2 decades, is that that's not the inmates that run the asylum. It's the warden. He don't care who you are. And I think that's why he wanted to get rid of Brady. He wanted Garoppolo there, but Kraft stepped in, and I think it was, okay, you got overruled. And I'm sure Belichick was like, next time this happens, I get to say. Now it's finally, this is all on Belichick now. And I believe him. You have to believe in Belichick, because guess what? This team is always competing. Brady's not always winning you every single game. That defense won them a lot of games last year. That Miami game, Brady looked great last year. They could have won that game, and Brady threw 0 yards, 0 passes. They could have won that game with defense alone. There's a big thing for the New England Patriots this year. They have the same defense. They lost Van Noy. Big loss right there. Let me tell you something. Only one person knows this on Instagram. It's Patriots, like PATR1OTS. I told him some inside information about Kyle Van Noy. I'm not saying it on here, but I think that his venture in Miami will be cut short. Another thing is, you lost Jamie Collins. Well, guess what? He came in as a Band-Aid for 1 year. You had him high, and that was a good way for Van Noy, Collins, and Hightower to teach some of these young guys. I like Jawan Bentley. I like Chase Winovich. I think those two are going to be on the rise. Guess what? You could not afford Tom Brady this year. There's no way you were able to take that dead cap money of 13.5 and then the money he wanted on top of that and sprinkle it out over the next 2 years. You wouldn't have the weapons around him. It's not fair. I really like that they still kept the McCourties. They still have Stephon Gilmore. If you're going to trade if you kept Tom Brady, you would have to get rid of Gilmore. You'd have to dump that contract out. So they still have Gilmore. They still have the McCourties. You still have J.C. Jackson, who's on a contract year 2, who knows that he has to step up. You still have some of those defensive players there. A lot of these young guys, Dietrich Weiss, who's going to get more reps in there, is on a contract year. A lot of these guys are on contract years. I like the defense, and their defense is still going to be a top 5 defense in the league. I believe that 100%. That's not me just being biased. It's me just saying, look at what their defense was last year to this year. They only lost a couple pieces. Elena Roberts was a fullback. Yeah, that's because he filled in that role. Yeah, it's a loss, but they still have some of the same guys. Exactly. Joe Juan Williams, hopefully he plays this year. There was a reason why they drafted him. Now he ran into a little trouble after the season, I think with cocaine charge or some drug charge or whatever.
Something like that, yeah.
That'll get dropped. They still have other things they have to do before the draft is here. They still need to clear some cap space. There's been rumors of Patrick Chung getting cut. If Patrick Chung, he's 33, I think now, or something like that. He's up in that age. If you
injury prone as well.
Injury prone. He's more there as a coach. He's more there as another veteran leader. I know we were promoting Marcus Cannon. I was told directly from two really reliable sources about Marcus Cannon retiring. He's in Texas right now. They said that he's going to get cut. If you cut him, that's $5 million you get back this year. And I'm waiting for the day so I can just say I was right.
Yeah,
But,
exactly.
I'm also waiting for the day to say that it doesn't happen and I look stupid.
Yeah.
But I got 2 reliable sources on that. In terms of the offense, Jacoby Myers, N'Keal Harry, and Stidham, and Damian Harris, those guys came all together in the league together. And I think Belichick knows that N'Keal and Stidham and Jacoby and Stidham had a connection in the preseason. The thing with N'Keal and Jacoby was that N'Keal and Jacoby didn't have the extra time with Brady. Brady didn't want to develop rookies. And I think he said that today on the Howard Stern show. I just woke up, so I have no idea what was actually said or not. I have to go through my notes today. But I think he didn't have time to develop these wide receivers. Now, N'Keal Harry was on the IR all year. There's little things that I heard that he wasn't like his attitude wasn't, up to par with the Patriots standards as well, too. So they kind of benched him for a bit. But he showed flashes, and I heard from players on that team last year that N'Keal Harry is the fucking real deal. They say he's the best receiver on that team. N'Keal knows that, but when you know that, you have that cocky attitude, and the Belichick doesn't like that cocky attitude. I think N'Keal Harry, and I said this on one of my IG Lives, N'Keal Harry's a wide receiver 1 this year in fantasy football. He will be a wide receiver 1. Stidham's going to be looking his way all the time, and I think it's great to have – they're all rookies in my mind because they're still young, but to have Stidham to Jacoby, Stidham to N'Keal, and Sanu. Sanu was brought in a second-round pick. We can shit on Sanu all we want. He was injured last year. He didn't catch up to the Patriots playbook in time, and Brady does have no time for you to Brady wants players that are stars now and that know the playbook now. I think Sanu was a low-key pickup to have a wide receiver 2, where Jacoby's a wide receiver 3. I hope they keep Edelman because that's a veteran guy. You need to develop these young guys. If Edelman wants to walk away and get traded, that's absolutely on him. That's cool. I'm not going to shit on him for that. He shouldn't be thrown in this mentor role, but I hope he stays just for his brand, and I hope he stays for that mentor role because that's going to help him longevity-wise of when he becomes a Pats Hall of Famer, when he maybe becomes a Canton Hall of Famer. I think that James White, if you're going to trade someone, you trade James White. I don't want to get rid of him. I don't. Don't twist this around, but it's just that he's going to become a free agent. He's going to get paid somewhere. So I look at it in terms of the business. Do you want to try to cash in on his value now, or do you keep him for the year and then let him walk, but you keep him for the veteran experience for these rookie running backs? The major thing the Patriots need this year is a center. David Andrews has not been cleared to play yet, and we're hoping that he does come back. But you still need a backup center. You need to fix that offensive line. That offensive line needs to protect Stidham. That offensive line looks shaky. And if you can get that offensive line and they kind of pump more into their offense in the draft this year, and I know Joe Stafford, our guy, wants Patrick Queen as a linebacker as well, grab a couple guys on defense. They're going to be fine. They're a playoff team. And I said this, now 7 teams make the playoffs. Last year, the Steelers went 8-8 in the AFC, and they would have made the playoffs based on the new format.
Yeah.
The Pats are going to go at least 8-8. They're going, in my mind, they're going double digits. I'm saying 12-4 because the consistency every year of that 12-4. It's both. They went 11-5 the year they won Super Bowl 53.
Mm-hmm.
I think giving them 10 wins, 10-6 is good. If there is a team that's winning the AFC East, I think they win the AFC East. But it's but it's the Buffalo Bills. I think that they keep stepping forward, and I do say this: the Patriots are going to go into Buffalo and lose this year. I think Buffalo will get that. They almost squeaked out that victory last year. Buffalo. I think Buffalo is going to go on the – I think Buffalo starts hot this year. If they do that every year, they start hot, they end cold. And I think it's just going to be another Buffalo thing. I think it comes down to Week 17 for the AFC East championship, and I hope it's Buffalo and New England. I hope they pencil that in on the schedule like that. But I still feel that they'll be successful. They'll be in the playoffs. I'm not predicting Super Bowl this year, and that's what's cool about this is that they're not a Super Bowl contender technically. They are still based on their organization and based on their history. They should be considered for that. You can't put it past Belichick. You can't put it past this team. The one thing I really like about this team this year, who is their true leader? Now, I automatically pin it on Edelman. I pin it on him. But this is the perfect year, 2 to 3 years for Stidham, but for anybody out there that wants to be that young guy that takes the role of being the franchise player. Tom Brady's been the franchise. Tom Brady hasn't been the franchise player for 20 years. If you really think about it, guys like Ty Law at the beginning of 2001 or Brewski in 2003 and 4 or William McGinnis, those guys were those franchise players back then. It wasn't Tom Brady. Tom Brady didn't become the franchise superstar until 2005 and 6 when he was off to 3 Super Bowl wins. And
Yeah,
even someone like a Vinatieri was a franchise. But that back then, winning those games was all team. Winning these Super Bowls has been all team as well too. Gronkowski, Edelman, but Brady's, because he's the face, he's the quarterback, gets the limelight. Stidham's not getting it right now. He's not going to get it. It's not, and even if they win a Super Bowl this year, it's still not Stidham, although he's the helm, unless Stidham throws for like 5,000 yards and 50 touchdowns.
See, I think the thing about that publicity towards Stidham, though, is if he gets that kind of backup publicity, it'll be another sort of like Gardner Minshew thing where it's not so much that he's doing well. It's more the fact that it's, this guy who followed in Minshew's example, Blake Bortles, it's, oh my God, this guy's almost as good, It's like the miracle of that.
Look at Jimmy Garoppolo. I mean, yeah. Jimmy Garoppolo got a humongous contract to play a game and a half for the New England Patriots, and he had some bright spots with that team. He is a team leader because of the way he carries himself, because he was taught by Brady. But, man, that guy had one of the worst playoff runs, like Jimmy Garoppolo, and it kind of showed that he wasn't ready for that. Yeah. You might get that out of Stidham. You might not get a great quarterback right away, but I hope with him, with Belichick and McDaniels, I think Stidham will get developed over time. But it's the team. Like the San Francisco 49ers were carried by their defense. They were carried by some of their players. They were carried by the run game as well, too. And then when the time came for Garoppolo to make the moves, he wasn't that guy. That's what made Brady who Brady was, because you're down 10 points in Super Bowl 49. You're driving right down the field. You're scoring twice. You're down in Super Bowl 51. Your defense is stepping up for you, but you're the one who's making those moves. You're the one who's making the passes. That's why Brady deserves all that credit and shit like that. But back in 2001, you could say that Ty Law's pick six, Brady did lead them down the field. He made a couple good plays, but it set them up for a field goal. I mean, same thing in some of those other games in 2003, 04. Like it's some of their play. It's a team effort there. Real quick, Stidham. Now that we're in quarantine life, I said this on my last podcast. I said that Stidham is in the bowels of Gillette Stadium right now. He lives in Texas. Belichick told him to fly up here before the shit happened. He flew up here. He's quarantined in Gillette right now, or at home, wherever he lives. He probably doesn't have a home here yet. He probably has a condo or whatever. He's here right now. Belichick's quarantined in Nantucket, I believe. He's probably telling Stidham, you have the whole range of Gillette Stadium. You have our entire playbook. You have our locker room. You have our field. You have everything over there. We're in quarantine. You better be studying. Right now, Stidham has everything handed to him. It's his job to lose. And this is what I like, is that he's not just thrown in there. Like Tom Brady was just thrown in there, but what made Tom Brady good is that he was motivated to take over that spot and took it. Stidham's kind of being handed, like he knows that this is his spot to take. I will say this for Stidham. If he does not live up to the limelight, he knows it's gonna hurt him. This is the New York Yankees, man. Like this is the biggest team to play for right now. It's the New England Patriots. And you know that all the media is gonna be on you for this. That picture of him that came out when he was a rookie, sitting on the throne with his foot on the helmet, like having that crown on his head. That could be an iconic picture down the line. Because it could go one or two ways. Either he sucks and they're like, wow, I can't believe he took a picture like that thinking he was the next guy. Or, wow, he took a picture and knew he was going to be the next guy and took over. Not saying Stidham's winning Super Bowls. A good career for Stidham in New England is to win 2 Super Bowls. Is to win 2 Super Bowls and go to 3 of them. That's all you need. That's all you need out of Stidham. I think even winning 1 Super Bowl is going to be more, it was more of a team. If you can win 2, Stidham, and go to a 3rd one, that's all we're asking for. And that could turn into a Hall of Fame career too.
That's very true. Like I was saying earlier, kind of staying on the theme of quarterbacks here. This is my final question about, general sports takes. But what do you think the Patriots draft strategy should be this year and next year? Because, obviously this year, you have so many great quarterbacks. But next year's the year of Trevor Lawrence. What do you think their strategy should be going into the year of Trevor Lawrence? And what do you think they're going to be doing this year to prepare for either Trevor Lawrence, or if Stidham's successful and he's the future for these guys, where do you think that they're going to be going with this?
Whoever says the Patriots should tank is a fucking moron. They're not tanking at all. You're not getting Trevor Lawrence. I'm at the point right now that I'm hoping that Trevor Lawrence is a bust, because I'm getting sick and tired of people saying Trevor Lawrence to New England Patriots. Everyone's putting him on a pedestal, saying he's the best quarterback. If Trevor Lawrence was that damn good, he would have beat Joe Burrow in that college championship game. You know what I mean? Like if he was that damn good. I know he's a great player. I've seen it. I don't watch college football that much. I've seen the championship games. I've seen those big games. I'll try to watch them. I catch the highlights. I hear all about it. I'm getting sick and tired of Trevor Lawrence. And at this point, I wanted Jameis Winston on this team. I was like, maybe Jameis Winston's the bridge guy for the next couple years. They're going in on Stidham. What they're going to do is they're going in on Stidham. They got Brian Hoyer here. They're going to draft a quarterback this year. I have no idea who it's going to be, whether it's the 3rd, 4th, 5th round. They're going to grab whoever's best available. That's what Belichick always does, is best available. I just said with the 23rd overall pick, depending on what's there, I think they trade down to the 2nd round. I think they try to get value out of an offensive lineman, a linebacker, whatever they want to do there. I can't really predict or pick through Belichick's brain. They do need a kicker. They do need a tight end really bad. I really want Thaddeus Moss. If there's one guy I want to be hyped into, it's Thaddeus Moss. Why do I want him? Because of Randy Moss. I want Randy Moss to be on the team, kind of, be able to coach and be a receivers coach for them, and work with Troy Brown as well, because Troy Brown's a receivers coach. You kind of get that out of Thaddeus Moss. It would be cool to see Stidham throw to Moss. I really, that's the one pick I want this year. Other than that, I mean, they're going to draft a quarterback. It could be anybody. Jacob Eason. It could be Love. It could be that Florida FIU guy, that whatever his name is. It doesn't matter who it is. It's Stidham's time. No Cam Newton. No Jameis Winston. No Deshaun Watson. Get that out of your heads too, because Belichick is now finally in a spot. Because this year he still has to pay $13 million to Tom Brady. Don't forget that. Next year they have $100 million on their cap space. This is the first time in a long time that Belichick does not have to tie up money into the quarterback position. If Stidham could be at least decent enough this year and get them to a couple of wins, and the defense is also getting them wins, if Stidham's decent enough this year, Belichick can use that money and put it all around Stidham and get pieces around him. Maybe get a free agent wide receiver. Maybe get a free agent tight end. Maybe put it on the offensive line. Hey, you're going to lose some of these guys next year on the defensive side. Let's pay some guys to bring them in. Let's extend some of these guys. So I think they're all in on Stidham. I'm rooting for Stidham. I'm believing in Stidham. I trust Belichick, what he's going to do. And get this shit out of your head with Trevor Lawrence. I hate it so much. It bothers me. I think people just do it to troll now. I really hope he becomes an NFL bust at this point. I'm sick of it, because when he does become an NFL bust, I'm going to go back on everyone's Instagram. I'm going to go back on everyone's time and saying, remember when you wanted Trevor Lawrence? Yeah, it's kind of funny. We posted about it too, him wearing the 16 jersey, and like, what do you guys think about it? I don't care what people post at Ride the Wave, because that's their own opinions. When it comes to Spike King, I'm getting sick and tired of Trevor Lawrence talk. Why would the Pats go 0-16? Why would Belichick at 68 years old or whatever he is purposely lose games and tank when you're spending money on these players? Like, do you think the McCourties want to go 0-16? Do you think some of these veterans that are staying with this team want to go 0-16? Do you think James White wants to go 0-16? These guys that want to get paid next year? No, none of these players want to do that.
See, the thing is,
the LA Chargers are going 0-16 this year. They have Tyrod Taylor. There's been rumors about Cam Newton. Going there, but I think they should go 0-16. If they want the guy, they should go after Trevor Lawrence. That Trevor Lawrence in LA makes sense.
So Gio's actually more of a Chargers fan than anything. But on the same hand, Gio's just more of a kind of whatever's cool fan. I mean, he claims to be a Yankees fan for all we know most days.
I'm not a Yankees fan.
I know.
I'm a Chargers fan.
See, either way, long story short, it's kind of expanding back on the Trevor Lawrence thing. I still kind of am one of those guys who could see Trevor Lawrence just fitting in so well there. I don't think that the tanking is a good idea. I mean, I've thrown it out there, but realistically, Trevor Lawrence in New England would be a lot of fun, just because obviously, college obviously does not ever directly translate. You see that in Matt Barkley, for starters. And then another great point about the quarterback draft is someone else was also bothering me about maybe trading up and going Tua to the Pats and saying if Tua's the real deal. I don't think they do that either.
I don't think they do that either, and I think that Tua is going to be – someone asked me a good question. They were like, who do you think is going to be the guy that comes out of this draft in 5 years? In 5 years down the line, who's the guy? And I think it's Herbert. Saw him at the Combine. He looked like he had an arm. I don't watch college football, but I just saw him and my gut was like, I think this is going to be the guy. Why? I think that Tua's injury is going to catch up to him. It also depends on what organization you go to. There are talks of Herbert going to the Chargers, and they might draft him there. That wouldn't be a bad place either for someone like him to learn over there. I think Herbert could be the guy. I look at Joe Burrow, That guy goes to Cincinnati, his career is going to die. I think
True.
if you're Miami, you trade and get Joe Burrow and have Joe Burrow have those Miami vibes down there because they have draft picks and they have money to spend to put around him. I know Joe Burrow could probably have a bad season in no matter what, wherever he goes. I think the Cincinnati Bengals have a good team offensively. I just think the organizations run stupidly.
Oh, yeah.
I think that Brian Flores will end up adopting him. The Belichick thing, though, real quick, is that I think Belichick wants to grab these certain guys to develop them into eventually starters. I mean, what did he draft? Ryan Mallett. He got Jimmy Garoppolo. They've gotten Matt Castle. I mean, he got Brian Hoyer paid. I mean, you look at some of the Belichick quarterbacks over the years that he's drafted, he doesn't have those flashy guys, but look at Jacoby Brissett. He ended up becoming a starter with the Colts, like as an emergency starter, and he got paid as well too. I know he's not the greatest, but I mean, when you had Garoppolo in here and you had Jacoby Brissett on this team when we didn't have Tom Brady, they filled the role pretty good in those couple games, in those 3 games. I know one game that they had no quarterback because everyone got hurt, but you know, I think Belichick would rather take a 6th-round pick and develop him into a star than taking the 1st overall pick. Because in the 1st overall pick, you know what you're getting. I'd rather see Belichick be like, I could develop this guy into something. I know I have it. And I think that's why Belichick's one of the greatest coaches. Or he is the greatest coach of all time.
So true. I'm going to actually now kick it, because Gio was just kind of in the spotlight for the Chargers. I'm going to kick it over to him with some more sports takes questions. But, let's see what he's got to say about the Chargers' future here.
I believe we draft Justin Herbert because Anthony Lynn's a solid coach. They have a solid O-line. They need to build around that, though. It's either Justin Herbert or an offensive lineman. That's my opinion. That's what we're drafting. You still have Keenan Allen. They franchise tag Hunter Henry. They have the solid defense. On paper, that defense is one of the best top 5 defenses in the league. On paper. But I know you're going to say something to that. Earlier I saw reports saying that Justin Jackson and Austin Eckler were going to be used as a 1-2 punch. And I agree with that whole because Justin Jackson is a good running back too. And I believe that duo can actually be deadly. But Mike Williams is a solid receiver 3.
Who's got the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th pick and 5th pick? Who's got the 3rd, 4th, and 5th pick in the NFL draft? Do you know?
Third is Lions.
Giants. 4th is the Lions. Or no, 3rd is the Lions. 4th is the Giants, and 5th is the Dolphins.
I could see someone trading that Giants pick. I could see them trading away that pick, and they get more picks later on the draft, and a team ends up taking Justin Herbert right there at 4th and screwing the Chargers over. I think that's the only way you don't get Justin Herbert is if he's taken beforehand, and I see a team trying to trade up. Maybe the Chargers have to trade up and get him as well.
Yeah, because sorry to cut you out. There's reports saying earlier that if the Lions trade out, they can still get Jeff Okudah.
Yeah. So, it's interesting on draft day what ends up happening. I mean, if you really want Trevor, I just think the Chargers are going to be abysmal this year. I just don't see them. I think they got the Patriots. They got whacked by the Patriots. They had that good run that year. They came here in New England, got whacked, dude, and they just weren't the same team last year. I also don't think the Chargers are going to be in LA long term. I mean, now this pandemic thing's changing things, but I think the Chargers are actually become the London team eventually too. And I think that has something. You make a face like that. There's no way that.
It's just an interesting take.
I mean, the Jaguars have been rumored to go to London. They're going to have They're going to have an expansion team out there eventually. And I just think that the Chargers, because they probably realize that 2 teams in LA don't make any sense whatsoever. I think that the Rams were fortunate enough to make the Super Bowl off the bat, and I think that's more of a conspiracy that the NFL wanted them to do that so they can get fans. I think the 2 teams in LA is not going to work out, and I think the Spanos are terrible owners, and I think that they should have stayed in San Diego somehow. They should have kept that fan base down there. Yeah. I just see that the Chargers are a team that is eventually going to come down to Jaguars and them. I think the Jaguars organization has done more for Jacksonville. I've gotten to go down there, fortunately, Jacksonville, to go see the Patriots play, and he's building that city up down there, the owner, Khan. So I feel that they're not going away from that area anytime soon. I feel like LA is just a team that's kind of floating right now. I think that give them 3 or 4 years, they might go overseas. Once all the shit starts calming down, but they might go overseas and be there for the long haul. So I just feel like the Chargers on draft day are going to make a huge mistake. They're not going to get Justin Herbert. I think they're going to screw themselves, and you're going to go into the season with Tyrod Taylor as your starter. Or
Hey, even that, it's a good starting quarter. Like, he's a solid starting quarterback. Like, it could be worse.
it's just one of those things that it's like, you're not beating the Chiefs this year, and you're probably not beating the Raiders this year.
Yeah.
I think the Raiders I like the Raiders a lot, and I think that you're not beating either. So what's the point of playing? What's the point of playing? Why don't you do the Miami route and just fucking trade everybody away and just start piling on draft picks and start piling on money and prepare for 3 years from now? Like that's how teams should be doing it.
Mm-hmm.
I think that, yeah, you want to compete because you want to sell tickets. You need to sell tickets. You need to have a competitive team. But if you want to tank, that's how you got to kind of tank. If you know that you can tank enough to get a start. Like the Cincinnati Bengals, they tanked last year, but they do have a legitimate offensive team. With Joe Mixon, they franchised AJ Green. They got Tyler Boyd. They got John Ross. They could put Joe Burrow in there. They're going to win games, and that's a division they could win. I know it's going to be hard to compete against Baltimore, but that's even a conference that they could go 8-8 and still make the playoffs. So, that they're in a set like that. Same with Miami. I mean, they gutted their team out completely. They have so much draft capital. They have 16 picks this year. They have 3 first-round picks this year, and then they have tons of money. So I'm just interested to see what ends up happening with that.
Larkin?
I was actually going to transition to Turner or Logan here, really, whoever's willing to take it, because I know that we're going to be transitioning out of takes here soon and then into the trivia. So, Logan, if you have anything,
No, I think, Turner, do you want to start with the trivia questions? See if we can stump the pro?
Awesome.
Won't be that hard.
Let's do it. All right. So,
I don't know, because here's the thing. So there's an unreleased video right now just because, editing's still going on with it. So last night we interviewed 7 Miles High. We had him do our trivia challenge, and he's an avid Colts fan, Colts Instagram, stuff like that. And we had him do our trivia. I got to say, man, Turner comes up with some insane questions just from the clouds. So, I mean, I know that I was struggling last night. So, yeah. I mean, we'll see what happens here.
Turner, I went back and watched that footage. It was a lot closer.
All right, ask away. Let's see.
All right, so the first question. The Patriots are known for having running backs with fumbling issues. Like, they have them hold the ball on the sidelines during games. However, one running back is very well known for having 0 fumbles in his 4 years with the Patriots. Who would that be?
4 years with the Patriots. Corey Dillon? No. Wait, I got a mulligan. James White?
Nope.
No. Ben Jarvis, Green Ellis, yeah. See, I told you. I'm gonna be a spike fraud out there. You're gonna have footage on me. Like, this guy knows nothing.
It's okay. I mean, Turner's making me look terrible for last time we did this.
All right, let's go to the next one.
All right, so
redeem myself.
As we all know, Stephon Gilmore recently took home the Defensive Player of the Year award. However, there have only been 2 Patriots to win Defensive Rookie of the Year. Who was the last one to win this honor?
Defensive Rookie of the Year?
Yeah.
Andre Tippett?
No. It's Gerard Mayo in 2008.
Gerard Mayo.
Yep.
Yeah.
This seems like the 2-minute drill. They're my NFL guys. Joe Stafford or Roondog would probably be killing this right now. All right, I'll 0 for 2.
All right. Number 3. There have been many elite wide receivers known for their short-lived tenures with the Patriots. In the 2011 offseason, this wide receiver was traded to the Patriots for a 5th and 6th round pick and had 276 yards.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I got nothing on this one.
2011 was traded to the Patriots.
Logan, you got something?
I say it.
Dude, I can't even think of Tompkins. I can't think of what I had for lunch yesterday. Go ahead.
Chad Ochocinco.
Were you going to say that?
Yeah.
Oh. Chad Ochocinco. Chad Ochocinco is a good pickup for the Patriots to show that they'll take anybody and they can try to put him in. He someone just couldn't learn the playbook. He did get to play in a Super Bowl though, low key. I don't think a lot of people remember that. Like I can't remember him even being on the team 2011.
That was an insane time.
He wasn't he picked up and wasn't he on the team and was it no, that's right. 2011, right?
Yeah.
All right. I'm just thinking in my head.
That makes me think of the other random Patriots pickup, Tim Tebow. Man, what a time.
Yeah.
Now he's playing pro ball.
All right, go on another one. 0 for 3.
All right, so when Tom Brady tore his ACL, Matt Castle stepped in and started 15 games. What was his record as a starter that year?
So as a starter, technically, it would
15
be
games.
It would be because the first one doesn't count. So they went 11-5, so it'd be 10-5.
Yep.
So I got that one. I got to redeem myself that one. Records. All right.
All right, last question here. Malcolm Mitchell and Kembrell Tompkins both played one full season with the Patriots. When comparing that one full season with each other, who had more yards in that sole season?
Well, I know Malcolm Mitchell, can I get a bonus here, had 151 yards, I believe, in the Super Bowl that year. That was that one year that Malcolm Mitchell played with the team, and then he was done. Was that 2016?
Yes, it was.
Okay.
2016.
So if I had to guess, I'm gonna have to just say Tompkins for the year. But then I feel like Malcolm Mitchell, like he killed it in the playoffs, and I think that it was more like he was saved and reserved. So I'm gonna go Tompkins.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah,
dude, save us. And I deserve a bonus point for the yards in that Super Bowl. Yeah, I think it was 150 something yards. So I know he killed it, and a lot of people were hyped up about Malcolm Mitchell. And unfortunately, his career had to end short.
So that makes it 3 for 5, including the bonus, which is not bad considering the fact that those are, like I said, questions that are from the clouds.
I look like an idiot now. You release that footage, people are gonna you talk about the hate. I'm gonna get a lot of people hating me. If you wanna show some hate, you show that, and dude, be like, and you should just spin it, and then you'd be like, Spike fraud out here doesn't know anything about Patriots. He got all these wrong. That was good though. It's a good trivia question. I like it. It was something different. It's got to actually keep me on my toes now because I think that's the first time I've ever been put on the spot to name things that have happened in the past, and I've completely blew it at the beginning. I'm not a test taker, okay? I'm not a test taker at all.
So kind of to try to wrap things up. Would you happen to have any questions for any of us four here?
I mean, talk to me a little bit about how you guys met and how you guys started your little media company here, and talk to me about what your vision is I told you about having vision. Give me a 6-month vision. Give me like what you guys want to do and what you guys hope to accomplish.
So I'll do a little bit of the background, then Gio can definitely delve in more on the vision. So MGT, it's Mark, Gio, and Turner. So we have Gio and Turner here, and Mark actually recently left just because the contribution levels of all four of us, it just, we needed more out of him, and we love him to death. He's a great guy. It's just, we needed more contribution out of him, and it just wasn't coming there. So MGT was started by Mark, Gio, and Turner. They created the Instagram page, and I expressed to Gio and Mark, I was like, listen, I've had writing experience before. I'd love to hop on and see where we can really take this. And, and then Logan also came along. And ever since, it's just at this point, for me personally, from what I've seen, we're just trying to expand more on every level of content possible. Making edits for athletes, reaching out to other Instagram accounts like you and 7 Miles High. And we're just trying to reach out to as many people as possible for advice and, seeing what we can do to grow.
Let me tell you something. Ride the Wave, when we first started, had 6 people together in one room. Ride the Wave has just been something. It wasn't called Ride the Wave, but it was just a vision that I had. How many people are left from those 6 people? 1, me. There's only one person. So I just want to kind of make that an example of sometimes you start something and then you realize, like you said, contributions. I see the vision. I see like where I want things to be. And I've probably had people come in and then come out, come in, come out. I've always left the door open for anybody to ever make a return, because if this ever was to be able to hit off somewhere, you want to always leave that door open, except one person, that bridge has been burnt and they will never be able to come back. And that's what we've done here over the years. So I think we've had people come in and they'll do something and then they're out. And then we come in, I give you the opportunity, then I'm like, you're not doing anything, see you later. So I just don't want to discourage anybody. I know we all have real life and what things that are going on in our lives, but there's a lot of untapped talents out there
Absolutely.
that want to be discovered, that want to run with it. I've been fortunate, again, striking gold. Like, there have been people that have come on here and that have been blown me away, and that they're the reason why I'm still standing today. I mean, even somebody that maybe the 7th guy that came on got our website up, got us to get going, and then he just stepped away and said, here you go, run with it. So it's a big team effort, and everyone kind of plays some sort of part there. But in terms of going forward, just someone needs to be headstrong, and someone needs to guide the ship and steer the wheel and keep it going. So to your other boy there, that your door's always open, don't ever shut it. And you need the contribution, because you need to keep doing content every day. You can't just sleep. You got to keep putting shit out there. You got to keep doing what you got to do.
Yeah, so and that's where we're all at now. And I was gonna turn it over to Gio here to kind of delve in on what the vision is in the 6-month plan here, because it was kind of.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, Mark, Gio, and Turner, they kind of founded the whole thing, and like I was saying, late edition. So I'm gonna let him delve into that vision.
We actually, me and Mark, all go to the same school, and Logan was actually one of our followers that actually went to our school, but we didn't know him at first. Like, he was one of our OG followers, one of the first people to follow us. And then Turner, we've all known for a couple of years now. And me and Turner have been working on future posts. We've already have stuff lined up for summer posts and stuff like that. Like, we're just getting ready for it. And then we're working on our website. I'm personally working on a podcast that I want to start up instead of like doing this video Zoom podcast in a way. I want to do audio podcasts that like release on Spotify, Apple Music, and etc.
Let me just tell you something about the video thing. I have been so adamant about doing video podcasts. We do ours on Skype. We record the call. My guy Brendan takes the audio from that, puts it on Anchor, then puts it on Apple and Spotify. Mm-hmm. I've been so big into video. And this is kind of a shout out to you guys in terms of advice from me to you and whoever listens, is that show your face. Show your face out there. The more you can show your face, I don't care how stupid you look. Look at me. I have a mustache right now. Look how stupid I look. But the more you show your face, the better and more beneficial to put a face on the brand. I was so adamant about videos, and I had people saying, why don't you just do audio and blah, blah, blah. It's because, you know why? I take these videos. I have Dito watch the entire thing. He'll edit certain things that I want. We post it on Instagram. You can get those snippets, and you get 50. Like, if you go on a nice rant about something, you can take that snippet, you can video edit it, you can put in pictures and videos and do whatever you got to do. That's what makes, I think, what helps a company out is putting faces on things like that. We did everything on YouTube first, because I'm not tech savvy, and I kept begging, we need to get on Apple and Spotify. We need to get Apple and Spotify, which eventually Brendan Watabi came and was like, I'll put everything on for you. Here you go. Boom. And we're all set. And we're all set from there. So you can still have audio. Like, another thing too is invest in microphones, invest in little headsets for you guys, because the audio will come better. Joe Stafford uses his Apple headphones, and it sounds shitty when you're listening to it. So microphones are big as well too. And just having video that you can just post on your YouTube that you can just watch back at any time. You can take videos, because I'm animated. I like to use my hands. I like to yell, I like to scream, and I like to show it. I want to show emphasis, and people like to see that. They want to watch that. Also, I know fucking people out there that love to talk shit. They're keyboard warriors, and there's been some of those Patriots fan pages, and they're like, come on our show. And I said, no, I will only come on your show if we do videos like this, so I can see your face. I want faces. I want to see that. And I think that's a lot better to do it that way. And that's my personal opinion. Podcasts don't have to be that way. But if you see some podcasts nowadays, what they do is they're in a studio, if they're fortunate enough to have that. And what they'll do is they're sitting around, but they're using professional mics to audio equipment, but they're actually recording it somewhere else. So you're seeing that like in their recording studio. And then they just match up the audio to the video as well. So it's just something else that, this is a great time the next couple of months to learn all this stuff, study all the stuff. You have plenty of time to do it. And that way, when sports comes back, you're able to really get in the swing of things, and you guys look more professional.
I completely agree with that. We're also setting up a website right now. We're trying to work on it. We're articles, and me and Larkin all are getting into writing more articles. And then me and Turner have actually been looking for a clothing line to potentially start our own merch that would simply MGT Media or MGT on it, and just small stuff like that.
Yeah, have never done merch yet. We have this stuff here, but I've done it through Squad Walker. I just like am not big into buying and selling merch and shit like that. I've tried it in the past. It's fucking hard. Like that takes like a lot. But if you come up with a good concept, good logos and stuff, and that sells you, there is money to be made there. I look more at the sponsorships and advertisement to make money. But yeah, I mean, you guys just keep doing your thing, keep grinding. Like, you know, I can give as much advice as I can. I'm not always right on things either. I mean, I've gotten this far, but you know, I'm still trying to push myself forward and still learn on my own too. So just keep doing it. And the more you do it, the more you show yourself out there. Try to be different from other people. That's what makes us different. You know, we're just a little bit different, a little bit kookier. You know, a little bit overdosed on confidence sometimes, not afraid to go out there and scream and yell and do what you do. It's entertainment. People want to be entertained. People don't want monotone. You know, rewatch a lot of the stuff you do. If you have a podcast, rewatch it or re-listen to it. And what I do is when I listen to it, I nitpick everything I do. Sometimes I'm like, I say this word too much, or I had too much of a long of a pause, or I ran too long on a certain subject. Just keep listen to over and over again, more practice, so you get better at it. Eventually you start flowing well, because you know what happens with me is that I'm able to go on live television. I'm able to go live on the radio, and I know I have 5 minutes, like, because this is like a free form, but you're 5 minutes. That's all you get. Go. And I'm able to just kill it in a 5-minute segment. So, this is going to help you over time, because you never know when that time comes for any of you that you're put on the spot and you got to answer and you got to be ready for it.
Yeah, I mean, that's great, you know, because, you know, the thing about media especially is that it's so diverse and it's so, like, always changing. So the thing about social media especially and expanding on that platform is, you know, you definitely, like you said, you got to be ready to tell, you know, when you get your 5 seconds, so to say, you got to be ready for that, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think unless Turner and Logan have anyone else got any final comments here?
I just want to say thank you for coming on.
Yeah.
Appreciate the opportunity to meet you.
Thank you for letting me rant for 2 hours.
Yeah, no, we really appreciate it.
That's what it is. You know what I mean?
This is fantastic content because, you know, like you're saying, you know, I actually probably going to go in later, you know, clip this down to a few different bits and, you know, post out, you know, the IGTV video, you know, something, you know, Spike King's prediction for the Patriots season, you know, Spike, and, you know, that right there, you know, just stuff like that. So we're able to clip and send it out.
Yeah, absolutely, dude. Anything that you want. And I'm here to at least try to give some advice and the background of me and what we're doing going forward. You know, I just wanted to, so I just want to make an example as we,
yeah.
So I posted this picture and it's Tom Brady and Giselle. And I said that Giselle's the new Yoko Ono. So Yoko Ono is a rumored reason why the Beatles broke up.
Uh-huh.
So I'm saying that this is based on Howard Stern's thing and what Tom Brady said today. It was like Tom Brady left New England because Giselle wanted him to focus more on family. So he's kind of just taking a lesser role. And that's why I went to Tampa. And just seeing the comments, like these are the comments, you know, let's see. Oh, come on. Really, bro? I can't believe that. Bro, no one cares about this shit. Pats fans don't post shit like this. Respect the GOAT. Getting frustrated with all this Brady slander. All right, time to unfollow now. Get help, bro. You got issues. Huge Pats fan turning their back on Brady and posting this garbage. Tired of this dude disrespecting the GOAT. 6 rings. Put some respects on your name. Bruh, what have you been on lately? I'm upset Tom left more than anyone, but I know that in any way, shape, or form, ragging or shitting on him makes yourself look like a clown. Real Pats fans don't tolerate this shit. Real Pats fans don't show the true colors. Damn, I'm disappointed in this. These are the comments. Like, these are the comments that I get for posting something that I think, like, is just a shit post, and I think it's funny.
Yeah, it's funny.
And it's funny.
That's it.
But that's what the comment section's been like lately. I think a lot of people are so upset that Tom Brady – people can't take a joke. That people are sucking Brady's dick. Like, yeah, he gave us 10. I said it myself. He gave us 6 rings. It's cool what he's done, but, dude, there's a future. He left New England. He could have – if he really wanted to stay, they could have made it stay. Kraft said it himself. We would have made it stay, and we would have made it possible, and it just didn't work out. So, I just think it's funny because that's what happens. Like, that's just my life right now, so.
Yeah, that's insane, man.
All right, let's wrap this up, man.
Yeah. We really do appreciate you coming on. You know, it was great to have you. And, you know, hopefully this is the start of some more content, you know, soon to come.
Thanks, guys. I really do appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Awesome.
Yeah, thanks for coming on, man.
Thank you.
Thank you. And good luck with Ride the Wave.
Thanks, man.